What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Stocks by the Numbers, and I wanted to do a quick update here on SoundHound AI Incorporated, ticker symbol SOUN, listed here on the Nasdaq. Stock right now 485. It's up 20 cents, about 4.33% on the day. And looking on the technical side, I just want to show real quick this top trend line here from the high on March 14th, 24, coming down, connecting to that high right there, May 10th, and just kind of cutting down and across. You can see that we were kind of we still are kind of in this downward consolidation channel, but we can see that at a couple of points we've gotten above this resistance trend line and then pulled back, tried to get back above. Technically, we're still above this resistance trend line, so in my eyes, I think it might be actually ready to pop, maybe back up here to about 5.5, and could potentially retest this trend line that we were looking at. But also, we're in this downward channel, so it might be ready to pop as well in general. But more importantly, we had some news come out today. And as you see here, SoundHound AI reaches agreement with lenders to prepay debt. SoundHound AI said Monday it agreed with its lenders to prepay its $100 million debt in full. The agreement enables the company to save more than $55 million of interest and fees and free up about $14 million of restricted cash. The company said it now has a cash balance of about $180 million after paying the debt. Holy cannoli. So, in my opinion, obviously this is a very good sign. We always speak about this, even though sometimes rising debt could be used to reinvest into the company, or, invest into R&D or whatever, help build out a facility, whatever a company might need, right? And we were looking at the debt recently of SoundHound, and if we come here, we can see that the debt was slowly climbing here, going from sub 40 million up to 73.8. Almost 90 million, getting above 90 million, 90.5 million. Now, boom, zero. With, obviously, big cash on hand. So, in my opinion, this can lead to many, many things, including potentially a smaller acquisition of another company. Or also, it could potentially lead to share buybacks. If they have that much cash on hand, they could potentially start buying back their own stock. But in my opinion, overall, the fact that the clientele list is slowly growing, the fact that they're potentially speculating, as we spoke last time, into branching into other sectors, because I know we're in the fast food industry and people were speculating about healthcare AI, and now they recently got into the automotive sector. So this is why now, with still maintaining that market share, still growing their list of clientele, slowly generating more and more revenue, and of course we have the Nvidia investment, and chances are, in my opinion, it's probably going to continue to get tapped by all of these other companies. And again, I must remind you that the CEO came out and said that they were approached multiple times in the past to get bought out. This is why I still say, in my opinion, over the longer term, I do believe this is easily going to be a $20, $25 stock. And that might just be speaking very conservatively about the situation. Even here at almost $5 a share, we're talking about a market cap of about 1.6 billion. And we see that once these companies really start rocking and rolling and they start signing these new deals, and these larger names, these larger Fortune 500 companies all of a sudden start tapping and start collaborating with these stocks, you and I both know that we can see this market cap explode to even several billion, right? Even if this jumps up to 4 or 5 billion, obviously that's going to translate to a heck of a lot higher share price. So that's why I'm saying, in my opinion, of course, we could pull back and we could retest 4 and check some of these trend lines. But in the long term, I still do believe that this is going to be a huge winner in my eyes. And people still ask me, out of all the companies that you look at, which one do you think has the most long-term potential, the most long-term growth? And I still have to say, SoundHound is up there. Now, of course, there are other companies that we like, right? Like Hims and Hers Health, HIMS, which hit a new high today, above $22 a share. We looked at it after earnings a couple of quarters back. The stock, I think, popped to like 13 after hours, and I said, in my opinion, the numbers are growing nicely. Long term, you could probably see $20, $25. Stock's already at 22. So this is why I like to look at these companies, find the growing fundamentals, and then what you do is you essentially make this hit list, right? And anytime you have a stock like SOUN pull back, that's when you step in, you buy the dips, and in my opinion, you accumulate shares, build a position, and wait for that long-term growth, right? And you have to ride out that short-term volatility. So anyone who's holding for the longer term, who got back in SoundHound here at like 2 and change, 2.5, like this huge pop and then this massive sell-off, trust me when I tell you, they're not really looking at this. So any big dips, in my eyes, people should be adding to the position, accumulating more shares. And like I said, over the longer term, I like it. But even here in the shorter term, we're technically still above this resistance trend line. We're in this downward consolidation channel. We just got the news now that the company is essentially debt-free. So in my opinion, in the short and in the long term, I do like SoundHound. If we switch over here to stock charts real quick before I let you go, we're here on the daily. We can see RSI basically middle of the road here, right about 49. So again, we kind of been slowly stepping down, so we could be gearing up to take that next shot higher. Again, the last time it broke up and exploded up, we can see the RSI got above that 70 benchmark and stayed there for a couple of weeks. And even though the stock did have a big pop and then a nice pullback, it chunked up and took that next leg higher. We hit that $10 mark. So anything can happen, but we do also have the tightening taking place here on the Bollinger Bands. I told you that usually, in my opinion, what I've noticed is that when these Bollinger Bands tighten, like it did down here, right? We're in like this downward consolidation channel, Bollinger Bands tighten, then boom, we pop up. So, of course, it could break down and it could retest this moving average, but in my opinion, I do feel that there's more positives surrounding SoundHound as opposed to negatives, so we might actually see a break up as opposed to a breakdown. And even if we get back to the top of the range here, you can see top Bollinger Band is 549, and our trend line here again is about 553, it looks like. So next stop could be a pop to 5.5 maybe in the short term. MACD has been sliding down. Almost looks like it's actually curling right there, so it might be gearing up to cross back to the upside to help a little momentum come into the stock as well. Switching over here on the weekly, we can see RSI basically middle of the road as well, 54.25. The stock recently came down and tested this mid Bollinger Band. Now it looks like we're almost forming a bull hammer there, but I don't know, not really. But technically the mid Bollinger Band 481, stock right now 483 above that mid Bollinger Band. So technically, in my opinion, still bullish. And the last time we had that retest, you can see it started to bounce and really gain some momentum. And it went from that sub $4 level up to about the $6 level, which is why I'm saying we might be due for another pop back up to like that 5.5 range. And we might start getting some life coming back into SoundHound. And these quiet moments, again, I know something like this might aggravate a lot of people because, you know, you're all hype about the situation. There was news coming out, so you're like, oh, it's taken so long. How come this stock isn't running? How come it's not popping? But again, as we know, these stocks, they have to pull back, they have to consolidate, and then they pop, they take the next level higher, right? And now we can see even coming down from this 6th level over the last about 2 months, it looks like. It almost looks like we're in this descending wedge kind of situation, and we could steam friend, my apologies, I always forget, but it does look like we're kind of in this descending wedge, and that's why we're right here at the mid Bollinger Band, which is why, in my opinion, boom, we could potentially take that next leg higher. But paying down that debt, now having all that cash on hand, in my opinion, really can't be viewed as a bad thing, right? So this is all positives in my opinion. And the MACD has been slowly and steadily kind of pulling back, selling off. And now it looks like, in my opinion, it's maybe ready to curl and start to head back upward and cross to the upside. But, of course, only time will tell. Let's check the pivot points real quick before I let you go. And here we can see on the weekly we're still on, we can see pivot point here of about 4.5. So in my opinion, that might be the low of the lows, but it might be ready to pop up again to that 5.5 level. And if it keeps going, we could maybe get back to the high 6s, potentially 7s, if we get another catalyst coming out. And also, we're above this 50-day moving average as well. 50-day 475, stock right now 484. So we're in this downward channel. We're back above the moving average. So boom, we might be ready to pop. This pivot point here, 506, could be the next stop. And then after that, you can see the old resistance level looks like about maybe like 560, we'll call it. And again, that basically lines up with a lot of the excuse me, with a lot of the points we were looking at previously, right? So we have this old resistance level here at about maybe 555, 560, and we also have the top Bollinger Band here at about 550, and we also have this trend line here at about 550. So we know on the technical side, though, anything can happen, but at the end of the day, long term, SoundHound seems to be doing all the right things, and I personally am still bullish on it. But I just wanted to update you guys because, again, getting rid of debt and now holding, millions on hand, definitely a good thing, not a bad thing. And I'll end it there. So once again, this is Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually very quick to reply. Thumbs up algorithm helps me get more eyes on the channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is how, that's our handshake agreement. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I understand that markets are rocky, they're volatile, they're very uncertain. So I want to wish all of you success. Hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.